All right, today we're tackling something pretty cool, the CODECO Federated Toolkit. Now, stick with me here because this is all about conducting the chaos of modern applications. We're talking about apps that have to run everywhere, from huge cloud data centers all the way down to the tiny gadgets on the very edge of our networks.
I mean, just think about it for a second. The apps on your phone, the services you use, they're not just tucked away in some single giant server room anymore. Nope, a single app might have pieces scattered all over the place, some in a massive cloud data center, others running on a local server right in your neighborhood for speed, and maybe even tiny bits running on your watch or smart thermostat. So, how in the world do you manage all of that? It's a huge, sprawling mess, and that's the puzzle we're trying to solve.
Okay, so here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at what we're calling the edge cloud chaos. That's the problem. Then we'll meet our solution, CODECO, and see how it works its magic. We'll even walk through how you'd actually use it. And to wrap it all up, we'll talk about why this is such a big deal. All right, first up, the edge cloud chaos. And honestly, a digital world without a conductor is the perfect way to describe it. Just imagine this huge, sprawling orchestra. You've got thousands of incredible musicians, but there's no conductor. No one's leading. That's basically the situation for a lot of distributed apps today. All these powerful parts, but no one to make sure they're all playing in harmony. It's just noise. So this whole environment has a name, the Cloud Edge IoT Continuum, or CEI for short. And the key word there is continuum. It's not just one single place. It's a whole spectrum of computing. You've got the massive raw power of the cloud on one end, and on the other, you have the super fast local processing of edge devices and all those little IoT sensors collecting data. And somehow, all these different pieces are supposed to work together like a well-oiled machine. Yeah, easier said than done. And you can probably guess, this setup creates some massive challenges. I mean, your app needs to be light enough to run on a tiny sensor, but powerful enough to scale up on a supercomputer. The system has to make split-second decisions about where to process data. Do we send it all the way to the cloud or handle it right here, right now? And all this has to happen without a hitch, securely, across a wild mix of different hardware and dodgy network connections. It is, frankly, a logistical nightmare. So if the big problem is an orchestra spiraling into chaos, then the solution has got to be a really, really smart conductor. And that, right there, is where CODECO enters the picture. And this quote really nails it. Think about it. CODECO isn't just some manager waving a baton around blindly telling things where to go. No way. It's more like an AI-powered maestro, one that truly understands every single instrument, knows the acoustics of the concert hall, and, most importantly, feels the soul of the music. It knows what the application is actually trying to do. And that's because of what CODECO actually is. It stands for Cognitive Decentralized Edge Cloud Orchestration. And the real game changer here is that it's not just looking at one piece of the puzzle. Older systems might only care about computing power, but CODECO, it's looking at three things all at once: the compute, the network, and the data. It's that complete 360-degree view that makes it so incredibly smart. Okay, so we've established CODECO is our conductor. But what about the sections of the orchestra? Let's peel back the layers and look at the actual components that make this whole thing tick. So let's meet the band. First up, you've got the ACM, the Automated Configuration Manager. Think of this as the stage manager. It's how the user, the developer, sets everything up. Then you have the PDLC. This is the real magic. It's the AI brain. It's the maestro's intuition, using AI to predict what the application needs and where things should run. After that comes the SWM, or the section leader. It takes those smart suggestions from the AI brain and actually assigns the work to the right group of computers. Then there's NetMA, our acoustics expert. It's constantly checking the network connections to make sure everything sounds perfect. And finally, MDM, the metadata manager. This is the orchestra's music library, keeping track of everything: the apps, the hardware, the network, all of it. And what's really important to know is that CODECO isn't starting from scratch. It's built on a really solid open-source foundation called Open Cluster Management, or OCM. It uses a classic hub-and-spoke model. You have one central hub that acts as the main brain, and it manages all the other spoke clusters out in the cloud or on the edge. It gives our conductor a really clear and organized way to see and manage the whole orchestra. Okay, so that's all the theory. But what does this actually look like for a developer who wants to use it? Let's walk through a quick performance, step by step. You'd think this would be super complicated, right? But the whole thing gets boiled down to just 4 simple steps for the user: setup, describe, group, and deploy. Let's take a look at each one.
Step 1 is setup. It's super simple. A developer just installs the CODECO software on their main hub cluster. And the best part? It's a one-and-done thing. You do it once, and the whole stage is set, ready for the orchestra. Okay, step 2, describe. This is where the developer uses something called the CODECO application model to write the sheet music. They tell the conductor exactly what they need. They can say, hey, I need really low latency for this part, but they can also set other goals. And this is really cool. They can tell CODECO to prioritize greenness, for example. The system will then automatically try to run the app on the most energy-efficient hardware it can find. How smart is that? Now we get to the really clever part, group. Based on that sheet music the developer wrote, CODECO automatically suggests a neighborhood. Now, this isn't a physical place. It's a logical group of computer clusters, maybe scattered all over, that are the perfect fit for that specific application. It's like the conductor looking at the whole orchestra and saying, okay, for this piece, I only need the strings and the brass section. And the final step? Deploy. The developer basically just hits the go button, and CODECO handles the rest. Seriously. The AI brain figures out the best plan, the section leader puts everything in its place, and the application just runs. The developer doesn't have to sweat the details. The conductor is in charge, and the performance begins. So that's the how. It's pretty elegant, right? But now let's zoom out and ask the big question. Why does any of this matter? What does a system like this actually mean for the future of, well, everything? All right, let's boil it down. Here are the big takeaways. First, it's application-centric. That's huge. It lets developers think about their app's goals, not about managing a bunch of servers. Second, it's cognitive and AI-driven. It's not just following rules, it's thinking. It makes smart, proactive decisions that no human could keep up with. Think self-optimizing energy grids or traffic systems. Third, it's built to handle the far edge. This is a game changer. It means we can have powerful AI running right on your phone or in a self-driving car or on a factory floor without waiting for a far-off data center. And finally, that integrated view of everything, compute, network, data, lets it find efficiencies you wouldn't believe, saving energy, saving money, and boosting performance in ways other systems just can't see. And that brings us to the final big question. Look, our digital world is just getting more complex, more spread out, more chaotic. The number of instruments in this global digital orchestra is exploding every single day. So the question isn't if we need a conductor, we absolutely do. The real question is, who or what is going to conduct that orchestra? And I think CODECO gives us a pretty powerful glimpse of what that AI-powered maestro of the future might look like.